I'd like to welcome you to another episode of How I Came Into the Truth. Today we got my brother Marcus. I'd like to welcome you, man. Thank you for sliding through, man, to sit down and give us your story.
Appreciate it, brother.
You know what I'm saying? And it's always a blessing because, you know, people being able to get different angles of individuals coming into the word and also their journey that they took. You know what I'm saying? It can be encouraging, you know. So with that being said, man, where you originally from?
I'm from Natchez, Mississippi.
Natchez, Mississippi.
Yes, sir.
So where is that on the map? I know Mississippi in the south, but where's Natchez?
The part of Mississippi that touches Louisiana and the river run through it,
Mm-hmm.
it's Natchez. It sit right there on the river.
Oh, okay. So
it's like 2 hours from New Orleans.
Oh, okay. So you might have picked up some of that Haitian French accent a little bit, or you pretty familiar with it?
Yeah, I heard of it. You know, I heard of it, but we pretty much country slang. You know.
Okay. Well, how was it coming up in Natchez, Mississippi? How you like it coming up?
It was good, man. It was a lot of good people. A lot of loud people. You know, everybody's people like talk loud. You know, where I'm from, and you know, did a lot of fighting coming up. You know, as a kid or whatever. You know, but for the most part, it's good people.
Good people. So like Southern hospitality.
Yeah.
So now that you're living here in Atlanta, if people don't know, the Atlanta area, surrounding area, metro, how did you end up here coming from there?
That's a good story. It was actually it was the summer after 8th grade. You know, over the 8th grade, my 8th grade, you had a couple of friends that actually, you know, got killed in the streets. And my aunt and uncle live here in Atlanta. You know, my aunt and my mother's sister live here in Atlanta. You know, she was, you know, college grad, you know, military, you know, pretty successful, you know. And I asked her one day, you know, can I move to Atlanta?
Oh, you asked your aunt that?
Yeah. And she asked me, why did I want to move to Atlanta? And I just gave her the best answer I could, man. It's like, it ain't nothing here but trouble, you know. So I like to be somewhere where I can get a better chance in life, you know. And I talked to her about that probably June. End of July, she told me I can move up here.
So she had to think about it?
Yeah, she had to think about it.
How old were you at that time?
I was 15.
So you've been here since you were 15?
Yeah.
Now, your parents, what were they like during that time, as far as like allowing you to make that transition to Atlanta?
Well, my mom, she was actually right there on the phone with my aunt when I asked her. So my mom was okay with it, you know, because she saw that how things was for somebody my age in my city in Mississippi, and you know, she was aware of some of the friends that you know I had lost over the 8th grade year, and she was all for it. She knew my aunt would be, you know, a more stricter disciplinarian than she could be because she worked so much, you know. And my aunt was like, you know, no nonsense, you know. You're gonna get your education, and you know you're gonna do what you're supposed to do. You know, that's pretty much how she was. And my mom thought it was a good idea. You know, of course she didn't want to see me go, but she was like, you know, you have a better chance at succeeding if you made that trip to Atlanta.
So what made you at such a young age? What made you able to comprehend your circumstances at the age of 15?
I was one of them kids. I never liked violence. I never liked drama. You know, and, you know, as crazy as it sounds, you know, with all of, you know, mischievous things we got into as kids. You know, I never liked fighting my brother. You know what I'm saying? I never liked us fighting each other, and that went on a lot, especially at that age in Mississippi. You know, it's um, you just went through a lot of that down there. You know, everybody we go play basketball, and it's always a fight at the court. You know, and I never liked being around that type of stuff. You know, they had cats, they started gang banging, and you know, then came to drug dealing. You know what I'm saying? These are people that I grew up with from elementary. Now they fighting each other. You know what I'm saying? Over this, you know, the gangs and the drug mess. You know, and it just felt like I didn't fit in no more. You know, everything they was into, I wasn't really into it. You know, because growing up, you know, I was a tennis player. You know what I'm saying? So and none of my friends really played tennis. You know, and the people that did play, you know, they lived in another part of the city. You know, for the most part, I was the only one from the hood that played tennis. Yeah, you know, so
it's like Rick Ross.
Yeah,
you heard about Rick Ross, right? I mean, you know, drug kingpin. Matter of fact, he was just at ICFJ in Gary.
Okay.
Brother Elijah was interviewing him. You know what I'm saying? But he's known the rapper Rick Ross got his name from Rick Ross, the Kingpin.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But coming out of the hood where he came from out in Cali, he played tennis.
Oh, for real?
I didn't know that. Tennis, man.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so putting all that together, man, I just decided to ask her, you know, because I didn't know she was gonna say yes. You know what I'm saying? I just asked her because I wanted to ask, you know. But when she said yes, I was kind of nervous about actually going through with it. But talking to my mom about it, and she was like, you know, it's gonna be a really good chance for you, you know, for you, you know, get a good education and to succeed, you know. So yeah, we went through with it, and I moved up here.
So you got 3 siblings, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it's a total of 4 of y'all.
Yes, it's 3 with my mom, and my dad got a older daughter that's a sister that's older than me.
Okay, so in the house it was
just us 3.
Y'all 3.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So were you the oldest among those?
No, I'm in the middle.
So what about the other kids? Like what about the other? Your brother? What are 2 girls and 1 boy, or 2 boys and 1 girl? How was it?
2 boys, 1 girl.
And you been the middle kid.
Yeah.
What about them? Like when you left, how was it on them? They want to follow after?
Well, not really. My sister's kind of young, you know, and her dad was around, so you know she was a daddy's girl, you know. And my brother, he wanted to come, I think at the time, but he was like just, I guess, too proud to ask or whatever. And then my brother had already like not finished high school, you know what I'm saying? So he was one of the ones running around with the knucklehead kids. Yeah, he was in the wrong crowd, you know, and yeah, so they my sister, she didn't really want to come to Atlanta. Like she would like to come visit, but for the most part, she liked being in Mississippi. So.
Okay. Well, I'll hesitate to inquire about their status. We'll leave that alone.
Okay.
But and I'm saying that you know, as far as the comparison is concerned, you know, them staying in Mississippi and you actually moving.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so that's why I say I hesitate to see who's faring better.
Yeah.
But what I'll say is, you know, not to pit nobody against each other, none of that. But what I can ask you is your mom alive?
Yes.
So how does she feel about the choice that you all made, including herself, because she had to sign off on it?
She was nervous.
No, but I'm saying now.
Now?
Like looking at the result now, how does she feel about it?
Oh, she knows it was a great move. It was a great move. Yeah. I mean, I moved up here, you know, a couple years later, my brother moved up here. Then my uncle moved up here. Then I had some cousins move up here.
Oh,
you know?
So that's your brother at the barbershop?
Yeah, that's my
That's
brother.
the one. So he was down in Mississippi with you?
Yeah, he was down there with me.
That's amazing. So you was like, well, I guess your aunt, and I say it all the time, you know, people want to make that move to Atlanta, it's almost like you got to have a pipeline.
Yeah.
So your aunt was the pipeline.
Yeah.
Then you came. Then okay.
Yeah.
So your brother did get out of there.
Yeah, he did.
He doing pretty good.
He doing good.
Okay.
He doing good.
So,
much better than he was down there. I'll tell you that.
Well, what about your sister? I mean, since we brought it up, since
your brother, is she still in? Yeah, she's still in Mississippi. She's recently married last year. But she's doing good. You know, her little nursing certification. You know, she doing good.
But she like it there.
Yeah, she like it there.
Okay.
She like it there.
Well, you know, you like it, I love it. You know what I'm saying? So
she said Atlanta a little too bougie for her. But whatever.
It can be.
Yeah.
But you got your spots. You know, it's a lot of faking. That's what it is. It's a lot of faking. Israel be faking up here. You know?
Sir.
They be everything on credit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
You got to know how to do it. But you say you say you're pretty much a good kid, and you know, coming up, and based on what I've heard so far, that is an indication of being a good kid.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Being able to identify, like I said earlier, your circumstances and make that decision to even want to leave. Because you know, mainly at 15 years old, you know,
just having fun.
Child having fun. You know, got his nose wide open, or she got her nose wide open with some guy in school or something like that. But to be able to identify that's always something to be applauded. You know what I'm saying? Especially among your peers at a young age. Yeah. You know.
And then my tennis coach took a real interest in me. You know, it was like I didn't really have room to get in trouble. You know, people would tell on me if I did something. You know, it'll get back to him or it'll get back to the coach at school or something. You know what I'm saying? So it was like I was expected not to be in that riffraff. You know what I'm saying? So I pretty much stayed out of it. You know what I'm saying? As much as I could or whatever. But people expected me. It was like I was expected to rise above all that. You know, because I didn't participate in it. You know, I think I was just pretty much different from the cats, man. It's things they was interested in. It's like, I didn't really care about the get in trouble part, 'cause that's all I saw was, you know what I'm saying? They was just getting in trouble doing this and doing that. And I was kind of more so like, you know, I like to play sports. I like to hang out with friends around the neighborhood and spend a lot of time with my grandmama too. So I pretty much went into the whole dealing drugs and you know, wearing the rags on your head or whatever, you know, this gang, that gang. I wasn't really into that. You know what I'm saying?
Right. So what do you mean by, well, I see you say your strength was your fear. So can you speak on that?
Well, I was scared of getting in trouble. You know, I was very afraid of the police.
So how was that your strength? Like, what was your strength about that?
Well, the butt whoopers worked on me when I was coming up. You know what I'm saying? So I knew that getting in trouble, you know, you get your butt whooped. But as I got older, it was like seeing all the things my older brother was getting into. And you know, he might get arrested for this or something. You know, driving, he get caught with something in his pocket. You know what I'm saying? And you know, and things like that, and like going to jail. Like that stuff scared me. You know what I'm saying? So I just kind of stayed out the streets in that respect.
So that's what you mean by your strength. Yeah. Like you had the wherewithal to keep yourself away from the danger and all the trouble and stuff like that.
Separate myself from that.
But at the same time, having a conscious, conscious mindset to know that there are some consequences if I do mess up.
Yeah. So that's what I meant by like I was scared to get in trouble. So
right. So now coming up now, you know, a lot of homes are somewhat reared in church. Mm-hmm. You know, and it kind of put me in that mind frame when you say you got whoopings coming up, and a lot of people out of churches they whoop their kids. Mm-hmm. They know they don't know anything. They know it's better around spoil a child, guaranteed.
Yeah.
You know, did you have that coming up?
Nah, my mama didn't spare the rod, you know.
I mean, did you have like a church background, or was it more so just, y'all just had just the morals and values and stuff like
It was just the morals and values. We tried to go to church, but it wasn't consistent. You know, I mean, we didn't go to church consistently. You know, coming up in we lived with my grandmother. You know, in the house it was like 8 grandkids, something like that. You know what I'm saying? My mom and my aunt, my grandmother there. You know, and my brother and my 2 cousins, and my sister. So yeah, I guess it was about 5 of us. I guess, you know, in the house. But
uncles?
yeah, I got some uncles, but they came and went. You know what I'm saying? They might come, stay a few days, then leave. You know, so they was in and out. But,
so y'all mainly was around like the mom and the grandma and
yeah,
stuff like that?
mainly around them.
How was that for you and your brother?
Well, my brother, he was always like he was protective or whatever, you know what I'm saying? For some reason, that's how he felt or whatever. But for me, it was more so like, you know, I enjoyed being around my grandmother, you know what I'm saying, my aunt, and, you know, and my mom was working a lot, you know, so, but for the most part, it was like, I was outside a lot. I was always outside, like, you know, far back out as I can remember. When I was young, I wake up in the morning, brush my teeth, eat some cereal, and then if I ain't got school, I'm out the door. You know, sometimes I'd be the first one in the neighborhood outside. You know? I was just always out of the house, always gone. You know, and then I come back home for something to eat or something to drink. You know, and then yeah, kick with my grandmother a little bit, and back out in the streets again. So that's pretty much how it was for me.
Well, that's good. That's good. And I say that because you guys weren't really indoctrinated so much.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of people get indoctrinated, and it's hard to get them to this place now.
And my grandmother had this big old, big white Jesus poster on the wall. You know, like a big one. Like it was, yeah, like huge. Growing up, and of course we had the Bible, or whatever. But for the most part, man, it was no. We went to church a few times, but for the most part, I would say no, we didn't come up in the church.
Right. But how was it when you came up through high school and stuff? Like when you got to Atlanta, making that transition. Like were you like culture shock in a sense, coming from a small town like Mississippi, moving to Atlanta?
Absolutely. When I got to high school in Atlanta, man, I couldn't believe the type of people that were there. You know what I'm saying? And nothing bad about them. It was just how alive they were, how they were just into, you know, communicating with each other and just seeing different kind of kids. You know how they dressed and everything. I had to learn how to dress the proper way because I was still dressing like I was coming from Mississippi, and then you could tell from far off, like, okay, bro, look, that's Marshall's, all right. But to me, it was like, man, please, who's all the Adidas? Like, oh, these ain't in here. Like, no, bro, that's why they was on sale. Yeah, they not in. So it took me about half a school year to get my dress code right. Other than that, but for the most part, man, it was like seeing other people in this city. That's what made me really like Atlanta. You know how different they were. You know, and how it was more closer to my personality than where I came from. You know what I'm saying? So high school was a lot of fun, man. It was a lot of fun. You know, I kind of found my own way after I got in high school, so to speak. You know, and yeah, it's like it was different, but at the same time, it was like a necessary difference. So I would come out of my shell more. You know what I'm saying? I would basically have more of a personality rather than trying to be like people that I seen growing up in Mississippi. You know what I'm saying?
Well, speaking of that, I did see where you said that one of your weaknesses was you were trying to feel like you're trying to, have to impress people.
Mm-hmm.
Was that here or more so at home?
That was more so at home.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that
So
was more so.
everything, it's almost like you was behind the eight ball
Yeah,
in Mississippi.
yeah, yeah. And it was like I wanted to be accepted, you know, and the kind of cats that I was like looking up to down there. Um, I wouldn't say looking up to, but I seen a lot of things they did, so I figured that was like the big boy thing to do. You know what I'm saying? You know, talk to a lot of girls, and you know, you play sports, and you know, you're always tough, and you know, always like, man, you can't be no punk around here, you know. And that's kind of the way the mentality was down there. But when I got to Atlanta and I seen that, you know, a lot of those things that I had in my mind, it wasn't even really like that here. You know what I'm saying? People are more laid back, more into, you know, life and chilling and just, you know, interacting with people, you know. So I learned to let all that tough guy stuff go, you know, when I got here. So
Well, it's definitely a vibe here.
yeah.
You know, I'm not from here either. And when I came here, well, I came in 97, 98, I think around the last time they had, it might have been 99. That's when we had Ariana, our first child, came, and, you know, I saw it, wanted to move here because my sister was here. And I just couldn't, you know, we just came, went on back where we was at, and came back in like '01. You know, all the times I came, it was all like, you know, it'd be like a pit stop and go back because it just wasn't the right time.
Okay.
Then when I got here in 2004, late 2004, early 2005, you know, just staying here for 3 months, that was enough time for me to start to see the uptick in living here.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So I can definitely attest, because now that I'm here, I don't want to go nowhere else.
Yeah.
Like, I don't mind visiting places.
Yeah.
But ain't nothing like that.
Yeah. It's like
it's nothing like
the opportunity here and the kind of people here. Like we had a large middle class people here in Atlanta.
And look like us.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's what, when I moved here with my aunt, that's the class she was in. Mm-hmm. You know, so I learned to be like those people. I learned to be around those kind of people, and you know, and everything wasn't all about what I thought it was about before I moved to Atlanta.
Right. Know? Yeah, because you see it. Like for example, you know, it's like all that's around you. You know what I'm saying? That's motivation. Mm-hmm. And it ain't like it's just one neighborhood. No, it's almost everywhere from Noonan all the way up to Lawrenceville to Sewanee. I mean, it's like Israel is everywhere doing good. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? That's why I love it so much, because you don't even have to be doing that. Like, we just come back, like, we go out of town and come back. I just want to get home just because the vibe here is just unreal. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah. I definitely agree with that, man.
So you've been here, you know, you end up coming to Israel Church of Jesus, right? But before we get to that, how did you, what even put you on this path? Because, you know, not being raised in the church, excuse me, not being raised in the church, if you don't mind, could you pass me that bag and watch out for the thing, the one right there. Thank you. So not being raised in the church, what put it on your mind? You know what I'm saying? Like, to even consider or think about church in general.
Honestly, it was Brother Cephas. Mm-hmm. Brother Cephas. I met Cephas through my business. I'm in real estate, a wholesaler, and him and I did a couple of deals together. You know, and he started asking me about, you know, asking me was I married. I told him I was married, and I think he was recently married, like a few years married, and I was double digits in marriage. And he was asking me what was that like, you know, being married, like, you know, and it went from there. So he asked me about, did I go to church? You know, of course, I was like, man, you know, I've been to a few churches, but for the most part, bro, no, I don't really go to church, man. And he asked me what was my relationship with the Lord was like. And
You asked you that?
Yeah.
Wow.
That question, I was like,
Wow.
I just was honest, man. I pray. You know, I pray and I just try to be a good person, man. You know, I try not to do nothing bad to nobody and just basically try to live the right way, you know, as far as I knew, living the right way, you know. And it's having those conversations with him. Um, he was the first one to introduce the Sabbath to me. You know, he told me what the Sabbath was. You know, when he first told me about going to church on Saturday, I was like, for real, you go to church on Saturday? You know, I just never heard of that, you know. Right. And it was like just talking to him. And I've always, like, coming from Mississippi and some of the things we've seen down there, you know, the cops they was kind of rough on us down there, you know, especially being in the hood. You know, they catch you out at night or whatever. You know, they might push up on you and just, you know, ask you all kind of questions. Even if you a kid, you know, they still come with that aggression. You know, and you know, I never actually got used to the idea of, you know, answering to them like that. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, um, always against some of the things that I've, you know, learned about. Like, we used to watch this video when I was in middle school called Eyes on the Prize. You know, it talked about Martin Luther King and all the stuff happening in the civil rights movement and all that or whatever. So I was always like, I had a negative attitude towards aggressive white people for that, you know. And so when I found out about slavery, you know, I kind of like, I never let it go. Like, you know, my entertainment became people who wanted to have this conversation. You know what I'm saying? They want to talk about what happened to us and why it happened to us. And, you know, I never got around to that before I got into the truth of why it happened to us. But I just always took it personal, you know, and it was like, that always stuck in my heart. You know what I'm saying? Us being enslaved, and, you know, from my understanding at the time, nobody else was enslaved, so it was just us. You know, and the whole reason people didn't care about us being slaves irritated me. So I bring this up at a spade part or something. You know, I'm hanging out with everybody. You know, we drinking, you know, hanging out or whatever, and they want to talk about sports and, you know, LeBron shoe size and whatever and all that. But, you know, yeah, I bring that up, and it's girls around everything, but I start talking about that right in the middle of the spade party, man. And, you know, I often got into, like, never no physical confrontation, but we'll get into verbal disputes. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? For me talking like that. And so I was actually at home, and my wife started watching this show called Kingdom Preppers. And the show Kingdom Preppers, um, I saw the show on the TV one day, and it said the title of the episode was "Scattered Among the Nations," ancient Hebrew, and instantly when I heard that, I was like, "Hey, you mean scattered among the nations?" You know what I'm saying? Because I was like, you know, I mean, I didn't have, I knew that this was talking about people being displaced from where they were. So if it's something about slaves, who we were before slaves, it ain't take much to get my attention on that, man. And once I saw that, that was the first time I saw something, doctrine saying that, you know, we were Hebrews. You know, of course I called Cephas right away, you know, and told him, like, bro, I was watching this show Kingdom Preppers, and it was saying something about us being Hebrews, and, you know, and he was like, yeah, man, that's what you are, a Hebrew, you know. And it's like, I could tell when he told me that he wanted to tell me before, but I wasn't ready to hear that. Apparently from how I was answering the question that he was asking. like, you know, he was just spoon feeding, you know what I'm
Right,
saying,
right.
so to speak. But yeah, I saw that, and the very next show was Keeping the Sabbath, and I saw that, and when I saw that, Hebrews and Keeping the Sabbath, I called Steve and told him I was coming to church, you know, and
Wow.
yeah, and that's how it went, and from there I came to church. He sent me the address, and he sent me a lesson. I think it was Brother Elijah, one of his lessons first, and I was looking at the lesson. Of course, I didn't understand any of it, you know, but I was looking at the lesson, and I think the next week he sent me the address to the church because he basically wanted me to get familiar with what I was saying I wanted to get involved with, you know.
Right.
And me and my wife, we looked up the church and we saw the Israel of God and all the churches it had, and you know what I'm saying. I was like, this is something big, you know, something important.
Yeah, I see what they.
Yeah. So yeah, from there, man, he sent me the address. The first week he sent me the address, I couldn't make it to church, but the second week I did make it to church, and yeah, I've been coming ever since. And that's funny you asked that because you know, when we learn at church, you're supposed to give a baby milk.
Right.
My first lesson was the three heavens.
What would you consider that?
Hey, that was definitely more than milk right there, man. That was definitely more than milk. You got to learn how to chew and swallow with that lesson, bro. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. But that was my first lesson, the three heavens, man.
How old were you when that happened? When you came to the word? Probably like, what, 46, 47?
No, I was 47.
47?
Same age I am now.
Okay.
So it's been less than a year for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I asked because, you know, it can hit across all age groups. You know what I'm saying? Like you have some people that maybe sitting on the fence right now, 47.
Yeah.
You know, just wondering like, you know, what's this out here about this Hebrew Israelite movement? You know what I'm saying? But you have somebody 25, you have somebody 30, somebody in their late 50s, 60. You know? It's just that it's an awakening happening. And what's common for all of us is that the day you hear the Lord's voice, harden not your heart. And that's what he was doing, you know, having Cephas, you know, he'll say something, and he knew how to do it because, you know, at the same time, like we understand according to the word that we trying to be fishers of men. So we don't want to just put the wrong bait out there and get you to get off the, you know, we want you to nibble, and then next thing you know, you see something else about it, and then boom.
That's amazing you say that because actually before I even started having this conversation with Cephas, or maybe it's like the second time me and Cephas had this conversation, talking about, you know, my relationship with the Lord, which was his question. My wife and I was coming out of Aldi's, and this lady just pulled up on us, and she was like, she just do the work of God, you know. She was like, the Lord told me to give you a message, and I got a message to give you. She told me a lot of it I can't remember. She was like, you know, the Lord is watching you. He said that, you know, you're gonna do good, and you know, told me that when she said you the head and not the tail, you know. And of course I didn't know what that meant, you know. And she was just basically saying, you know, well, she said you need to start writing stuff down and stuff like that, and that's pretty much it, man. My wife can tell you the story, but she remembered more in detail. I was just in awe from it, you know, because nobody never approached me like that before and said the things that she said, you know. And I think shortly after that,
came into the word.
Yeah, came into the word. A couple months later, came into the word, man.
Lord will use anybody. Well, considering that, I say all the time, when you come into the word this way, you're gonna run into you're gonna know you got the right doctrine. You know what I'm saying? Because it's gonna go completely against everything that you're accustomed to.
You know I haven't had a doubt since I came into the word. Like,
what obstacles did you face? Did you face any obstacles, like as far as like with family? Besides, because your wife was with you, so that right there, that's a big chunk of the pie right there. If you can get home board immediately, that right there, you know, it's like everybody else. I don't need you. You know what I'm saying?
My oldest daughter, it coming to the word and keeping the Sabbath, it put an instant divide from between us. You know what I'm saying?
How old is your daughter?
Right now, she's 22. She's
Oh,
22 years
okay.
old. You know,
Okay.
and I just think that the path she was on, for a few years before that, it just kind of started to manifest itself in her behavior. You know, and me adopting the Sabbath for my home and letting my family know that this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna keep the Sabbath in this house, and the Sabbath is from Friday sundown to Saturday sundown. So no buying or selling, and we can't just be watching anything, you know. So basically, just trying to implement that into the household, it kind of drove us apart, and then she kind of just moved out, moved with one of her friends after that. You know, that's pretty much where she's been at to this day. But
should be back.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure she will.
They're young and don't know, and you know, like I said, this is it's uncomfortable, but it's comfortable.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Long term, it's comfortable. In the intermediate, you know what I'm saying, you do have to kind of deal with, like I said, those obstacles and stuff like that. And, you know, you may have a child who don't understand the dynamics of it, but once things start to settle down and the Lord be shaking up the world and all that, they know how to find their way back home.
Yeah. So, and that's pretty much what a lot of brothers at the church told me. You know, don't worry. You know, the Lord work it out. Just make sure you're doing what you're supposed to do. Make sure you're growing in the Word, and make sure you're walking in the Word as well. You know, so that's pretty much what I've been focusing on. You know.
Well, how did you coming into the Word answer your questions about slavery? And I say that because when you look at the Bible, I mean, matter of fact, the lady who put you to the side, she was quoting Deuteronomy 28.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You're gonna be the head, not the tail, and that was based on us being obedient to His word. You would be the head, but clearly we messed up, so we the tail right now.
Right.
But you being that individual in these conversations, you know, at the get together, at the barbecue, you know what I'm saying? You being the one at the table playing spades, and you start talking about slavery, you know what I'm saying? Like, now that you find a word, how does that kind of help you understand who you are as an individual, and also has it kind of like brought some peace of mind in a sense?
Well, to me, coming into the word and learning the truth, it gave me a sense of identity, and from there, it gave me purpose. You know, I understand who I am now. You know what I'm saying? 40 some years, I finally know. You know, I'm not all these names they gave us. You know what I'm saying? I actually have a real nationality and a real identity, and I think that's what made it so. You know, where it just stuck with me so hard, because, you know, I always knew that, you know, not having the proper identity was a real problem, for me at least, you know, because I didn't know who I was, you know, I didn't know, you know, I wasn't this thing they called me, I wasn't that thing they called me, so what was I, you know, and learning the truth and actually learning where I come from, my forefathers, where we come from, and why we were put into slavery. That is like it all kind of just came together for me, the understanding of it, you know, and that's kind of what actually helped me to, you know, basically continue and keep that strong sense of urgency about it, you know, because it's like, it's so many of us that don't know this, you know. I think we all know about being slaves, but we don't know our real identity, you know, and we don't know why we were put into slavery. You know, all we know is blame the white man, you know, and that's pretty much where I was with it until I got into the truth.
So, you know? So the scriptures, I guess, brought it home for
you. Yeah, it made everything make sense to me.
Wow.
And it made it all, you know. It's one thing you can hear fancy talk, but what you learn in the word is not fancy talk. You know, it's actually real truth. Wow. And once you actually accept it and learn to grow with it, it just get better and better as you go. So that's pretty much where it was for me. Identity. I found identity in the word.
In the word.
Yeah.
Wow. How can you say that it's impacted your life?
I know how to walk. I know how to walk in this life now. I know how to deal with people. I know how to deal with situations. I'm still learning, of course. Because compared to some of my brothers, I'm very new in the word, and I'm still learning. But just learning how to walk in this life and learning how to get things right with the Lord and keep things right with the Lord, and it's like learning that and growing in that. It gave me balance, it gave me balance mentally and emotional balance, where I can actually learn that I'm not supposed to do this and not supposed to do that, and actually check myself and make sure I don't do it if I'm not supposed to,
Right, you got guidelines.
Yeah, exactly.
You got something to judge everything by.
Yeah, I got guidance, in the
right.
word, and to me, it's like, and giving me that guidance, now I'm able to give it to my family, and I always wanted to be this leader for my family, but I didn't know myself,
Right.
and I didn't know how to lead them properly, so that's why I got angry about it. Whenever something go wrong, I got angry, it's always anger the way I respond to things, what I'm saying, that wasn't right. But now it's more so like, it's like understanding, and even when things aren't right, or even when somebody else is wrong and I'm right, I find a way to have a conversation with them that don't involve anger. Because I read that anger rests on the heart of a foolish man. What I'm saying? Ecclesiastes, I think that it is.
I think so.
Yeah. So I learned how to deal with.
One of them, but
yeah, it might be one. Yeah. I learned how to deal with things without letting anger come in the picture. And for me, that was an amazing growth because that's how we dealt with things growing up.
Well, you said something that made a scripture resonate. Like when you said you not being able to handle a situation with the family and stuff, you resort to anger, and really with you having the mindset to want to lead the family.
Yeah.
It kind of led me to a scripture that talks about oppression making the wise man mad. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, you got the heart to want to do it. I want to be able to teach him, but at the same time, you ain't got no answers.
Yeah.
So it's like you're still stuck in the rut.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
So you ain't got no choice but to get upset.
Exactly. Not knowing what to do.
Yeah.
So I think that's what really made me more angry.
Wow.
But now it's like being in the truth. Even if I don't know what to do, I know the first thing I'm gonna do is apply some patience. I'm gonna apply some. I'm gonna listen. I'm gonna try to understand. If I don't understand, I'm gonna seek help on that understanding. And so I feel like with that in my corner, it ain't no limit to how much I can grow.
Right. And you were absolutely right. It's Ecclesiastes 7:9. Be not hasty in thy spirit to be angry, for anger rests in the bosom of fools.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's what it is. Ecclesiastes 7:9. Well, it only goes up. You understand? Like, you have your trials and tribulations inside the walk. I mean, it's just life in general. You know what I'm saying? Like, being in the Word, that don't negate that you still got daily things that you have to deal with. You know what I'm saying? And ultimately, the one that we would love to avoid would be sickness and death. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But we in the world, not of the world. And one thing I can attest to is that being in the Word, man, it changes the whole house. It changes the whole house from the top down.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It does make things better. You just have to be faithful enough just to hang on so you can see the better part of it, right? Because starting out is kind of rough.
Yeah.
But considering that, what would be your advice to new people that's coming into the Word that may be running into those obstacles, running into that wall where it just seemed like it's just even tougher than what it was when I was in the Word?
Yeah. My advice would be for somebody new coming into the Word, the first thing you want to do is you gotta exhibit some. You gotta be patient with your beginnings. You know what I'm saying? You got to be a person that's willing to listen. You know, and if you don't understand, you got to be willing to ask, so you'll get some understanding. You know, and I went through that when I first started. When I first started coming to church, coming into the Word, I wanted so bad to understand. It was like I wasn't getting any understanding because it was like me wanting to understand was not me being humble. You know, I wanted to understand because of all the things I went through before I got into the truth. You know, I just wanted to be different from what I was so bad. To the way for me to change, I was blocking that. You know what I'm saying? Because I was like, you know, aggressive towards it, I would say. You know what I'm saying? Rather than being humble. You know, and the more and more I learn, how important it is to be humble. You know, you got to be, like the word said, you got to be ground that you can actually plant seed and then actually be watered and grow. Right. You know, you can't be a ground of stone and rock. You know what I'm saying? Eventually, the seed ain't gonna be able to, you know, it's not gonna grow right. So you got to be humble. Yeah. And to me, that was like that understanding helped me to dial back the whole too much zeal and not really, you know what I'm saying? It's like I'm not understanding. All I know is full charge ahead, you know what I'm saying? Whatever it is, you know. So I learned how to be humble, and I started learning after I became more humble with it. You know, I started being able to understand better, you know, and
well, it is like a what's the name? It is like a new toy.
Yeah.
A new shiny toy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And it was like, it was just so amazing to me. It was like I was too much in awe and not humble, you know, and I had to dial it back to become more humble and actually growing the understanding, you know.
Right. So in other words, your zeal, from what I'm understanding, might have been a lot of pressure on somebody else.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you just kind of like calm down and then kind of see things a little bit clearer now.
Right. And I wanted to be able to share what I learned, but I'll tell you this, like a lesson we had at church, we was doing a lesson on the wilderness. I went home that same night and started calling people and telling them about the wilderness, trying to tell them about the lesson. And these are people who they don't do Sunday church, you know. I doubt they even got a Bible, you know. But I'm on the phone telling them, you know, a partner in Texas, one in Indiana and DC. I'm calling, telling them about the wilderness, you know. I'm like, man, the beast gonna make war on us, bro. You know what I'm saying? So I'm trying to explain to them, man, I didn't know anything. All I know is just try to repeat what I heard you say at church, man. You know what I'm saying? So it was like when they didn't take to it, I started realizing, like, you know, you don't know as much as you think you know. And it went from there to a real understanding of, brother, you don't know nothing. You can't teach these people when you know you just now getting into the word. So from there it became a point of me working on myself as far as like being humble enough to understand what I'm hearing in class and what I'm reading, you know, before I go out and try to, you know, share it with everybody.
Well, just so you know, like the Bible also tells you that you know, with much wisdom comes much sorrow, much grief, right?
Yeah.
So I can, you know, I guess in a sense, agree to your standpoint because I did the same thing. You know, when I first found out about it, I'm calling everybody, trying to get them in because I don't want them to delay.
Right.
So I'm just trying to give you what I understand. But, you know, over time, when you start seeing certain things in the Word, like John 6, I think it's around verse 44, where it talks about no man can come to me except the Father who sent me draw him, and I raise him up at the last day. So that type of stuff let me know that the Father got to draw that in.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But starting out, jumping out the gate, nah, man, you ain't the only one that was like that. I promise you. I got emails that I sent my whole family. I told them, can't you hear the trumpets blowing, the word about to come to the end? And then I had that epiphany like yourself. Like, just back up. Do what you got to do. Get understanding on it first. And then with that understanding, you know what else come with it? The humbleness.
Yeah.
The humbleness come with it, and then you start dealing with people a whole lot different. You know what I'm saying? But that leads to my next question. With so many different religions floating around, right? Which is a major reason why a lot of people don't want to adhere to the true word of God because of all these different religions. But what kind of impact do you think a better understanding of the Bible would have on people around the world if they just understood the Bible, had a better understanding as opposed to what we have now?
They would learn how to live. They would learn how to live better. They'll learn how to live according to the word. And learning how to live according to the word will show you the do's and don'ts in life. And it'll show you how you should walk, you know what I'm saying, how you should carry yourself, being a man of a home, being a wife of a home, or you a child in a home where your parents are in the word. To me, it would actually show them how to walk in this life, and that's what it mainly showed me, how to carry myself in certain situations, my understanding about the things going on in the world, and how it pertains to me and others like me, that's pretty much what it gave me. It gave me balance, and I think that's what it'll give people that get a good understanding of the truth. It'll give you balance in this life. And, you're not the wind can blow strong in either direction, but you got balance, you know what I'm saying? So you don't have to go this way because the wind blowing strong or that way, You can actually hold your ground and you understand what this walk in life is about from the truth.
Right, yeah, that's stability.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sure will make the world a whole lot better,
yeah.
which is what we're going to embark on soon when the Lord returns. You know what I'm saying? Because that law going to go forth from Jerusalem, and it's going to be a whole lot more peace on the earth than we.
And it took away from me all the worldly stuff I was into. You know what I'm saying? It was like the things that I thought that I was into, like, I thought I wanted to be filthy rich. I was just always never let that go since a kid, and richness became understanding the word of God to me rather than money, and it was like, for me to have that understanding grow, it was like that was a complete change of how I thought about the world. You know what I'm saying? Now it's like, I'll be honest with you. I don't want to be filthy rich no more. I'd rather be just good and stable and where I can stay humble and close to the word. To me, that's richness, and beyond that, I don't know if I can control, what I'm saying, the things that can come with all that,
Well, you're not alone. Same individual. Was it Solomon? I think it's Solomon. Or Job. I think it's Solomon. He talks about don't give me too much.
That's Solomon, yeah.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Where I mess around and get puffed up. Don't leave me with a little unless I turn around and steal.
Right.
If you give me too much, I turn around and take your name in vain.
Yeah.
So you got to just wait right there. Just give me just enough. You know what I'm saying? Like where I can enjoy myself, but man, can't nothing outdo this word.
Yeah. So
can't nothing outdo the word.
All the stuff I thought money was going to give me in life, you know what I'm saying? All the stuff I wanted, all that or whatever. Like learning the truth. I thought I wanted all this other stuff. But once I learned what the truth was and how to be right with the Lord, I can't see nothing more valuable than that, man.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And it's like that alone, that again helps me with my stability, my balance, and my understanding in life. Right. So yeah, that's how it's been for me lately. I just been loving to learn. You know what I'm saying? Loving all the things that come along with actually learning the word. And it's giving me comfort in life.
Well, speaking of learning, tell us what's your favorite book, favorite scripture, and why.
Ooh, that's a good one.
It's everybody all the time. This is the hot seat question.
I guess I answer the second question first. I guess my favorite verse I guess that would be the one I always remembered the most. That was Ecclesiastes 12 and 13, the whole duty of man. Yeah, you know, because it's like with that, I know what I'm supposed to do. You know, hands down.
No, that's always been your favorite scripture, or since you came into the Word?
Since I came into the Word. Now, before I came into the Word, I didn't have a favorite scripture.
Okay.
You know, I probably didn't even know any scripture. You know, other than the first two sentences of Genesis. You know, the Lord created the world. You know,
right.
But my favorite book, I would say, since I've been in the Word,
it's a lot of them.
I like Joshua, I like Luke, Matthew, and everybody like Matthew. Man. Proverbs, you know. I'm reading my Bible. Yeah, I'm reading my Bible, and I'm reading it from front to back. So I'm in the book of Jeremiah now.
Okay.
And that one growing on me. I thought Isaiah was, but now Jeremiah, so that one growing on me too. So if I just had to say a favorite book, I would say Proverbs.
Okay.
I would say Proverbs.
Well, that kind of line up with the whole duty of man.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? That line up with, because Proverbs is going to guide you throughout life as well. You know what I'm saying?
And that's what I like. It's like the verses I was reading, it was providing understanding for me. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's what my favorite book is so far. So far as Proverbs.
Okay. Well, we got Proverbs and we got Ecclesiastes 12 and 13.
Yes, sir.
Well, man, we come to the end of the interview. Just want to let you know, man, first and foremost, thank you for stopping through, man. I thank God that it was allowed to happen.
Yes, sir.
You know what I'm saying? But let's continue on in the faith.
Yes, sir.
You know
Absolutely.
It's going to get better.
Hey, I got a real good teacher.
Yes,
sir.
Rob from the rich and give to the poor.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you once again, man.
Yes, sir, brother. Yes, sir. Appreciate you.
You could be from Reuben to the